Hi, this is Kevin Pawlowski from Paradise Found Studio, and we're going to start again with Peter Koenig. There's so much I couldn't get in one video, so let's get into it and cover some of this really interesting work.
Right, Kevin.
Oh yeah, I saw this online. Now, who is that? I'm trying to remember who that is.
That is Ignatius of Antioch. He was a bishop in Antioch. I don't know how he got into trouble, but we have his letters still. And I think he knew Peter the apostle. He knew him personally, had met him. And somehow he got into some kind of trouble and he was sent to Rome. And those leopards in the boat are in actual fact, he was thrown to the lions, but the leopards in the boat are not the lions that are going to eat him. They are he says in his letter, they are the Roman guard who are like leopards guarding him. So he's surrounded by 10 leopards. I mean the 10 Roman soldiers. That's what he says in his letter. I thought it's a great subject because he was telling people not to stop him being thrown to the lions, which I thought, wow. And most Christians would say, no, thanks. I want to be crunched into the bread of Christ. Strong a connection to the Eucharist, the connection to the Holy Eucharist.
That's pretty humbling, isn't it? I mean, the early Christians.
Yes, absolutely. He's prepared to put his life on the line. The most important painting, I think, one of the most important paintings I did is of Christ as the second Moses, with the waves. And we don't know, that's such a big theme in the Jewish story of liberation. And as I have done in that image, I've got Christ as the second Moses, with carrying the cross as he comes out of the parting of the waves. And Moses himself says, there is one coming after me.
Yeah, what surprised me about that painting, if I remember it right, is Jesus has white hair in that, right?
That's right. And the white hair, interesting, curiously enough, we're used to a handsome young, and actually in the book of Revelation, I would not want to suggest every other artist should have him with white hair. The point in this picture is that in the book of the Apocalypse, the last book of the Bible, we have Jesus there with hair as white as snow. White hair to me suggests wisdom, somebody who is wise and knows something, not a young man who hasn't really gone through it. And I tend to think of Jesus a bit like he's suggested in the book of John, that Jesus, they say, you're not yet 50. I think of him and Jesus in his 40s and not in his 30s. Not that he would have had white hair in his 40s. I connected that with Moses. The other thing is an artistic question. We want to see Jesus's head. If he's coming out of a dark space with dark hair, all you're going to see is his face. You're not going to see it. If he's coming out of a dark space with light hair, it's either that or a halo.
It also, to me, it also suggests a little bit the transfiguration.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. So much the better if it suggests other things. Wonderful. It will connect, or rather I'd say connects other things.
The angel and the leopard really stands out as, I mean, when I see this, it just, my mind just blows. It's just, you got the leopard, you've got I'm not sure what kind of bird that is, if that's a dove or a different type of bird coming out of the mouth. You got the angel like prying it open, and he's got something. Can you take us through what we're seeing here?
The angel is in fact, it comes from a psalm, Psalm 22, verse 19. Save me from the lion's mouth. And in Psalm 74, it says, don't surrender your turtle dove to the beast. And I put the angel has got the holy crown like in the shape of the holy mountain, or rock. Christ is the rock, so he's the rock who's going to open the jaws of the beast. It's Christ rescuing his beloved. And the dove comes. It's in the Song of Solomon where he says, the bride, my dove, hiding in the clefts of the rock. You're connecting it to the Song of Solomon.
So the rock crown. So you've used that for Peter, I believe, too, as the rock of the church. But this is the mountain.
I've allowed it. The Lord. It's also used for God Himself. The Lord is my rock and my stronghold. You'll find that one of the Psalms. So now Peter is going to have to take the place of Christ. So he's going to be the rock now while we're on earth. So Christ is the ultimate rock, but now he's given him, you be the solid foundation for people here coming, going through on the continuing on the journey. Whereas the final rock is Christ himself in paradise.
The temptation of Eve was another one that I found to be challenging in a good way, where I'm looking at it and just trying to piece it together, trying to understand. You've got Eve's face repeated with the serpent, with the apples, and it's fascinating and challenging, because you're thinking through, okay, what does this mean? And it forces you to think, forces me to think more deeply about the book.
Adam and Eve are falling in love with themselves. They're making themselves more important. It's themselves they are loving. When she eats the apple, you will be very important. You'll be terribly important. So she's seeing herself, this apple is going to make me like God. Well, we are like God, but not in the way that she thought. So she's seeing herself in the apple. I think I think it's a fairly clear image myself. And then you've got the temptator whispering in her ear, you're very special. You're the most special thing. God, don't bother about God. You're okay. You can do it. You can do it alone.
So it's a message of pride.
Well, that's my way of trying to express pride. That's my way of trying to express pride, I would say. And you see, the same thing has to apply to an artist. You've got to remember that the real artist is God himself. You are a work of God. You are God's work of art. That's really, really interesting. You're alive. You can think. You can dance. This is only a bit of wood with some colors, and the paint's going to fall off. But you are God's work of art. This is just to help you. These are just a help. The imagination, it's just the imagination. And there's millions of art, tons of imagination. Anyway, if it helps to lead people to Christ, so much the better. That's what the aim is.
Okay, looking at the ship of the church, you've got certainly imagery from Noah's Ark, book in Genesis, but there's more going on here. Of course, you've got an angel up there. You've got a church actually on the ark itself. So combining different things that I'm not used to seeing.
We've always thought of the church as the ark, and we get on board the ship. So that the boat is. Then we have that Christ is the captain, and he is also the king and the captain. Then there's the people of God who are on the boat, and instead of painting hundreds of people, which you could do, you could put 20 people or 30 people there, I've decided just to have the bride. Let's have it a personal relationship. It's a personal relationship, Christ and his bride, and make it a personal relationship on board ship, and with his creation, the creation and all the other animals, whatever, some of the creatures are still in the sea. That's where they live anyway, so they hardly put a whale on board ship.
I'm embarrassed to say I have never thought of Noah's Ark as the church, and when you say that, the light goes on. It makes perfect sense, and maybe it's real common, and I've missed it all these years. The minute you say it, I'm thinking the waters of sin, of
right.
Things, of distractions rising up. The church is keeping us, above that, separated from that. If you stay within the church, follow the rules. If you don't, you're in the water, right? Of secularism.
Actually, Kevin, I wish I'd put some more monsters in the water. The demons.
Yeah, you got a dolphin.
It would have been better. It would have been better still.
Yeah, you got a dolphin. I want to go scuba diving there. I want to do some.
You won't do scuba diving anymore.
So I'm looking at your blog, and you did the sealing of St. Bede's Catholic Church. It looks like back in the mid '80s, and it describes that this was a dream of yours, is to, harkens back to, of course, we all appreciate the Sistine Chapel, the frescoes of the Renaissance. So can you take us through, how you went about that project?
Well, first of all, the most surprising thing is that I got it at all. The parish priest was restoring an old building which was going to be converted into a church, and they were going to use upstairs of it. And it was a kind of little town hall in a village. And that's where they were going to say Mass. And he was refurbishing it, making it usable. And he asked, it had a skylight, but they were going to cover it over with a proper roof. I said, why not have a painting there? And I said, all right, I'll do this painting, not on my back. I'll do a painting to that measurement, and I'll do it fitting in this little room here. I'll do it in 3 sections, and then we can assemble it and bolt it up to the roof.
We've covered a lot with the symbolism and all that, but a really simple, not simple in terms of composition, but in terms of the meaning behind it, is Christ to the Samaritan woman at the well. He's holding it and tipping it, and it's pouring. Can you take us through that piece?
That particular painting of Christ is influenced by Salvador Dali a bit, and it's actually he was useful in that respect. He's quite a curious artist, but it was useful because I could do things which the text itself says. I can provide you with water that will last forever. The water the eternal water. I'll give you the eternal spring. Oh, well, give me some of that, she said. So I wanted to show that this is tied with the water. He's going to be the well who can pour out the water onto the world. You turn something around from him being dependent on the water to him providing the water. So she wants just a jar of water. He's going to provide eternal water. And so by pouring it out like this, pouring it out into the world, I think that was a very convenient visual, let's be honest, visual trick. So you see Christ twice, once sitting on the side and once pouring the water out. And you've got the idea of dryness of the desert. The desert is pure yellow, absolutely dry. There's not a drop of, there's just the mist of the dust blowing around.
Hey, Peter, thanks for joining us once again.
Well, I'm very happy to talk to you again.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit like, and even better, subscribe. We're trying to build our subscriber base. And Peter's website is below. You can see a lot more of his work. We can only cover a small amount in these videos, so please go check it out. My website's there as well. So thank you and God bless.